You know what's crazy? Most women spend years trying to figure out how to capture a man's attention, how to make him stay, how to become unforgettable in his world. But the truth is, it's not about changing yourself, chasing him, or being perfect. Sometimes all it takes is one phrase, a simple arrangement of words that cuts through his defenses and locks you in his mind forever. Imagine saying something so emotionally charged, so subtly powerful, that it lingers in his head long after you've left the room. He's replaying it in his mind while he's driving, while he's with his friends, even when he's trying to sleep. He doesn't know why, but he can't stop thinking about you. He starts craving your voice, your presence, your attention, because that one sentence you spoke has triggered something deep inside him that he can't resist. And here's the thing, 99.9% of men have absolutely no shield against it. This isn't about cheesy pickup lines or manipulation. This is about understanding a man's emotional wiring, the part of him that desperately wants to feel seen, understood, and chosen. And when you say this phrase, you don't just get his attention, you own it. But most women don't know this. They either say too much, or they say the wrong things, and they miss the golden window where his heart is wide open. Today I'm going to show you exactly what to say, how to say it, and why this will make you unforgettable to almost any man you meet. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change your love life forever. Have you ever wished you could say something, just one thing, that makes a man pause, lean in, and feel an almost uncontrollable pull towards you? I'm not talking about sweet words or random compliments. I'm talking about something so powerful, so emotionally precise, that it disarms him in seconds, and plants you in his mind so deeply that he can't shake you off even if he tries. Most women never discover this. They chase, they overthink, they try to prove their worth. But here's the secret. What captures a man's heart isn't about chasing. It's about saying the right words that unlock a door inside him no one else has touched. When you say these words, something shifts. He feels seen. He feels understood. He feels like you just get him in a way he didn't even know he craved. And that's when it happens. He starts thinking about you without knowing why. He replays your words while he's at work, when he's with friends, when he's lying awake at night. It's like you've planted a beautiful seed in his mind, and it just keeps growing. But here's what most people don't tell you. There's a window, a brief golden moment, where his heart is open enough to receive these words. Miss that window and the opportunity fades. Hit that moment, and you become unforgettable. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to say, how to say it, and why this hits men in a place they can't resist. What you're about to learn isn't a game. It's a doorway into his deepest emotional space. And once you step inside, he won't want to let you go. Stay with me. This is where everything changes. So here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. What is this exact phrase that makes a man think about you constantly? What is the sentence that slips into his mind and lingers there, wrapping around his thoughts, whether you're near or far? The phrase is this: I feel so safe when I'm around you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's it? That sounds too simple. But trust me, this is not just a random compliment. This phrase hits men right where they are most starved for validation, their protective instinct, their desire to be your safe space, your anchor, your shield. When you say, I feel so safe when I'm around you, you're not just stroking his ego. You're telling him you see his strength, you trust him, you feel emotionally secure with him. And this taps into something powerful, his identity. Men don't obsess over women who simply flatter them. They obsess over women who make them feel essential, irreplaceable, and emotionally needed. Think about it. In a world where men are expected to be tough, where they rarely hear that they're making someone feel emotionally safe, this phrase becomes a rare golden gift. It tells him you're not just with him for fun, attention, or surface level things. You're with him because being in his presence gives you a deep sense of security and peace. That's why this phrase hooks him. When you say this with softness, with sincerity, when you look at him like he's the only person who can give you that feeling, you create a space where he feels like your hero. And the male psyche is wired to attach to the people who make them feel heroic, valuable, and strong. That's why this phrase gets replayed in his mind. That's why he starts to think about you at random moments. That's why he starts wondering what you're doing, if you're okay, if you're thinking about him too. But here's where most women miss the magic timing and tone. You can't just throw this phrase around. You have to say it in the right moment, when he's shown up for you in some way, even if it's small. Maybe he held the door for you. Maybe he listened to you when you were upset. Maybe he fixed something for you or made you laugh when you needed it. Look him in the eyes, pause, smile softly, and say it like you mean it. I feel so safe when I'm around you. Let the silence sit there. Let him feel the weight of your words. You'll notice his entire energy shift. He'll soften. He'll lean in. His protective side will lock onto you, and from that point forward, you won't just be another woman he likes. You'll be the woman he can't stop thinking about. Let's bring this phrase into real life, because knowing what to say is only half the story. How you say it and when you say it is what makes the real difference. Imagine you're on a casual date with a guy you really like. Maybe you're walking side by side, and he instinctively moves you to the inside of the sidewalk so you're farther away from traffic. It's a small gesture. Maybe he doesn't even think twice about it. But to you, it matters. That's your moment. You don't need to turn it into some grand, over-the-top speech. You just softly look at him, give him a genuine smile, and say, I just feel so safe when I'm with you. Then pause. Let it breathe. Don't rush to fill the silence or explain it. Let him feel the impact of those words sitting in the air between you. This hits so hard because you're not forcing it. You're not saying it in a robotic or pre-planned way. You're attaching it to a real moment where he actually did something that made you feel protected. That's what makes it believable. That's what makes it stick in his memory. Let's say another day, he's fixing something for you. Maybe he noticed your chair was a little wobbly or your car had a weird sound. He steps in, no big deal, just trying to help. That's another perfect window. You can gently say, almost like it just slipped out, honestly, I always feel so safe around you. I love that. It's casual. It's natural. It feels real because it is. You're not faking it. You're anchoring it to something he's doing right there in front of you. You can even say it during a vulnerable conversation. Maybe you're telling him about a tough day and he's really listening, not fixing, just being there for you emotionally. You can pause, look down, smile a little like you almost didn't mean to say it out loud, and softly drop, I don't know. I just feel really safe when I talk to you. It doesn't always have to be when he's doing something physically protective. Sometimes it's when he's emotionally present that this phrase hits even harder. When you use it like this, you create what psychologists call an emotional anchor. You're tying his identity to how he makes you feel. And because men are naturally wired to protect, to provide, to feel useful, this makes him start chasing the feeling of being your safe place. He will start replaying the moment. He'll wonder why it felt so good to hear that from you. He'll associate his value, his pride, his masculinity with being someone you trust and feel safe with. That's the secret. You're not chasing him. You're not trying to make him stay. You're simply creating an emotional connection that he doesn't want to lose. And once you've said it, you don't need to repeat it over and over. You've already planted the seed. From that point on, he'll do the work to keep making you feel that way. Because in his mind, you've become the woman who made him feel like a protector, not just a boyfriend. And that is unforgettable. One of the biggest mistakes women make when using this phrase is saying it without truly feeling it. They say the words, but their energy, their body language, and their timing don't match the depth of the message. It comes across as rehearsed or insincere, and men can sense that instantly. You can't just throw out, I feel so safe when I'm with you, like you're checking off a box. If you don't mean it in that moment, it won't land. In fact, it can backfire. It might make him feel like you're trying too hard, like you're saying what you think he wants to hear instead of what you genuinely feel. Another mistake is overusing the phrase. Some women, once they see a positive reaction from a man, start repeating it too often. They say it every time they're together, thinking that's what will keep him hooked. But when you say something too many times, it loses its emotional weight. It starts to sound like a strategy instead of a real, raw emotion. Men are drawn to things that feel rare, valuable, and special. If you overuse it, it becomes common, expected, and eventually it won't hit him the same way. The key is subtlety and scarcity. Say it when it truly fits the moment, and then let the silence do the rest. Timing is another crucial factor that many women overlook. Some women try to say this phrase too early before any real emotional bond has formed. If you say this on the first or second date, it can feel unnatural or forced, because the man hasn't yet done anything to genuinely make you feel safe. It's almost like you're handing him emotional credit he hasn't earned yet, and that can actually push him away. It feels rushed, and men instinctively pull back from things that move too quickly without proper emotional grounding. This phrase works best when it's attached to something he's done, something that made you feel seen, cared for, or protected. If you rush it, you rob it of its power. Some women also make the mistake of saying it too casually, without any emotional pause. They just toss it into the conversation like they're talking about the weather. But this phrase is powerful because of the emotional weight behind it. If you say it while scrolling through your phone, while distracted, or without making eye contact, it won't register the way you want it to. You have to be present when you say it. You have to deliver it with intention. Look at him, feel it. Let your body language soften. Let your tone slow down, just enough to show that this is a moment that matters. That's what makes it land deep. Another common mistake is using the phrase manipulatively, saying it just to get a reaction or to pull a man closer when you're afraid of losing him. When you use this phrase from a place of fear, desperation, or emotional attachment anxiety, it creates an energy that men can feel immediately, or won't make him feel connected. It will make him feel pressured. This phrase works when it comes from a genuine place of appreciation, not from a place of trying to control the outcome or force a connection. Finally, some women fail to back the phrase with consistency. You can't say, "I feel safe when I'm with you," and then act like you don't trust him, constantly question his intentions, or test him emotionally. Your actions have to support your word. If you say he makes you feel safe, you have to allow yourself to relax into that safety, to trust him, to let him lead in the moments where he's trying to be there for you. When your words and your behavior align, that's when the phrase becomes unforgettable and the emotional bond truly takes root. When it comes to saying something that deeply touches a man, how you deliver it is everything. You could have the most powerful phrase in the world, but if you say it with the wrong energy, rushed timing, or without genuine feeling, it will fall flat. Men are incredibly sensitive to authenticity. Even the ones who don't know how to express their own emotions can feel when yours aren't real. That's why the secret to making this phrase unforgettable isn't just what you say, it's the way you let it naturally emerge in the moment. The biggest key is presence. You have to actually feel the emotion behind the words when you say them. If you don't feel safe, if you don't feel connected, if you're just saying it because you think it will make him want you more, it won't work. In fact, it will sound fake. And even worse, it could create distance. When you say, "I feel so safe when I'm with you," your tone needs to be soft, your energy calm, and your eye contact steady. That's what makes the phrase land directly in his heart. When you fully feel it, it naturally slows your speech, softens your expression, and pulls him into the moment with you. There's no faking that. Another way to make it feel natural is to tie it to something real and immediate. Don't say it out of nowhere or in a forced conversation. Wait until he does something kind, something protective, something thoughtful, and let it flow from there. Maybe he walked you to your car late at night. Maybe he listened to you without interrupting. Maybe he offered to help you with something without you asking. When you link your words to that specific action, it feels genuine. It sounds like you're noticing him in real time. And men love to feel noticed for what they do, not just who they are. You also don't have to say it in a dramatic, overly emotional way. Sometimes the most powerful delivery is quiet, soft, and a little bit casual. You can say it almost like it slipped out without you planning to. Maybe you look down, smile a little, and say, "You know, I really do feel safe when I'm with you." That tiny moment of vulnerability, that almost accidental confession, that's what sticks. It feels unscripted. It feels real. A lot of women mistakenly think they need to perform the phrase like they have to make it sound grand or overly sweet. But when you try too hard, it actually pushes men away because it feels rehearsed. The magic is in the simplicity. Men are not waiting for perfect words. They're waiting for words that feel true. When you say something simple, with genuine emotion behind it, it's 10 times more powerful than trying to sound poetic or rehearsed. Another important thing to remember is to let the silence breathe after you say it. You don't need to fill the space. You don't need to explain why you feel safe or try to keep talking because you feel nervous. When you say the phrase pause, let him sit with your words. That pause, that tiny silence, is what makes him feel it fully. It gives him space to absorb it, to let it echo inside him. That's where the impact lives. The most natural delivery happens when you release attachment to the outcome. You're not saying this phrase to make him fall for you. You're saying it because it's true in that moment, and you want to share it with him. When you say it from a place of emotional honesty, instead of trying to control his reaction, your energy becomes magnetic. It's calm, it's open, it feels safe, and ironically, that's what makes you unforgettable to him. You become the very source of peace you're telling him he provides. That's what makes him come closer, think about you more, and keep chasing that feeling only you gave him. There's a hidden layer to why this simple phrase, "I feel so safe when I'm with you," works so powerfully on a man's subconscious, and it's something most women never realize. On the surface, it sounds like just a sweet compliment, but deep down it taps into one of the most primal, hardwired emotional needs that men rarely get fulfilled. The need to feel like a protector. From childhood, boys are conditioned to believe that their worth is connected to their ability to protect, to provide, and to be strong. Whether they show it or not, whether they're confident or shy, that emotional blueprint is almost always there. It's not just about physical protection. It's about being emotionally significant, being trusted, being the person someone can lean on. But here's the twist. In today's world, men don't hear this very often. They get praised for their looks, their success, their sense of humor, but very few women make them feel essential in a deep personal way. When you say, "I feel so safe when I'm with you," you're doing something most people don't. You're speaking directly to his core identity. You're giving him emotional validation in a place where he's probably starved for it. This taps into what psychologists call the hero instinct, the deep biological drive in men to protect and provide for those they care about. When you activate this instinct, it doesn't just create attraction. It builds emotional loyalty. It makes him feel like you see him, not just as a guy you like, but as a man who is valuable and needed. But this phrase also works on another level. It speaks to his subconscious desire for emotional safety. Men are rarely told that they can be the safe space for someone else without being used, without being taken for granted. When you say these words, you're not just asking him to protect you, you're also telling him that being with you allows him to step into his most natural, most masculine role, without fear of being judged. It's incredibly rare for men to feel emotionally free, especially in relationships, but this phrase opens that door. It tells him you trust him. It tells him you feel at peace with him, and that triggers his own craving for stability and connection, even if he doesn't fully understand. There's also the psychological power of emotional anchoring. When you tie your positive feelings to his presence, you're creating a memory in his brain that directly associates you with comfort, safety, and peace. Every time he thinks of you, he will subconsciously remember the feeling of being valued and trusted. That's why men often become emotionally attached to women who make them feel significant in this way. They want to keep coming back to that feeling. What's even more fascinating is that this works on men who are typically emotionally guarded. Even the most independent, seemingly tough men respond to this because it bypasses their conscious walls. It hits their deeper, more instinctive self. It's not about logic. It's not about attraction on a surface level. It's about speaking to the version of him that longs to matter. When you say this phrase, you're not just giving him a compliment, you're offering him a sense of emotional purpose. You're becoming someone who makes him feel like his presence has a meaningful impact on your life. And that's why this phrase sticks with him. That's why he replays. That's why he feels the pull to be closer to you. Because you're not just a woman he's interested in. You become the person who made him feel like the best version of himself. If you truly want to make a man emotionally addicted to you, not just interested, not just attracted, but genuinely connected to you on a soul deep level, you have to understand this. Emotional addiction doesn't come from constant attention, from being available to, or from trying to impress him. It comes from how you make him feel about himself when he's around you. Most women spend all their energy trying to be enough for a man. They think if they look perfect, if they say all the right things, if they never show flaws, that's what will keep his heart. But here's the truth. What makes a man crave you, miss you, need you, is when he feels like the best, most complete version of himself when he's with you. It's when he feels emotionally safe, valued, and trusted by you. It's when you notice the things about him that that's overlooked. It's when you speak to the parts of him that he doesn't show the world. The protective side, the loyal side, the side that wants to be the man who matters to you. That's what makes him emotionally addicted. Not because you demanded it, not because you chased it, but because you became his piece in a world that constantly demands him to be strong, to compete, to hide his softness. The secret is this: you don't need to become his entire life. You just need to become his safe place. When a man finds someone who can see his heart, who can make him feel significant, who can speak to his hero instinct without manipulating or controlling him, he will chase that feeling. He will keep coming back to the one woman who made him feel like home. And that's why the phrase, "I feel so safe when I'm with you," isn't just words, it's a doorway into his most guarded emotional space. It's a seed that grows every time he thinks about you, every time he replays those quiet, unforgettable moments you share. Men don't form emotional addictions to drama, pressure, or perfection. They become addicted to how peaceful they feel with you, how seen they feel, how deeply they believe they can be themselves with you. And when you give him that rare experience, when you stop trying to prove yourself and instead create emotional safety, he will start proving himself to you. He will want to protect you, cherish you, and keep you close. Not because you asked him to, but because walking away from you would feel like losing his emotional home. That's what lasts. That's what creates true lasting emotional addiction. Be his peace. Be his softness. Be the place where his heart can finally exhale. And you'll find that you'll never need to chase his attention, because you'll already have his soul.